Hey, you know what? I'm a fucking holy man. I have magical fucking powers and I can talk to God and shit. Sips vodka. You know what else? I got healing powers. Sips another separate bottle of vodka. Yeah, I think I'm kind of a fucking Chad right now.
Sips a third bottle of vodka.
And I've never been as happy as right now, but shit, I gotta cope with the fact that it dies down. Cause in the end, I just wake up salty, start my day with a pot of black coffee.
Hey everyone, it's been a little while. I may have missed the release of this game by a few weeks, but we are back with a hopefully more consistent schedule for releasing videos. While YouTube may just be a hobby for me, I still do love working on fun videos like this outside of my day job, and I'm truly thankful for those who stuck around despite my less than perfect schedule. Also, please let me know if you guys are liking the slight color redesign. I might try a few different ones, so engage in the comments a little bit. This definitely isn't for engagement farming, but I digress. Let's get to the topic of this video. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner. Oh, we aren't using that in the titles anymore? Well, okay then. Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army is a remake of the PS2 action RPG in the Megami Tensei franchise. It's the third game in the Devil Summoner spin-off series, as a deviation from the series' more traditional JRPG roots, playing more into the style of Devil May Cry, fitting given Raidou's featured in a game famous for this sticker. While I am glad this got a remake, considering the price of the original and its sequel have become quite pricey in recent years due to the boom of retro video games. God, I feel old saying retro for PS2. I do feel Atlus has a problem of pricing remakes a little too much, especially for a game that's old enough to now vote in a general election. I feel they could have just as easily made this an even price and included its sequel. Hopefully we get both parts of Digital Devil Saga when that re-releases. Right? Right? So anyway, let's get on with talking about Raidou Remastered. The game's story starts out in Kuzunoha village, where we are taking an exam to become a devil summoner to assist the supranationalist organization Yatagarasu, an organization you'll be very familiar with in other devil summoner games and Soul Hackers. And while they say dress for success, I'm sure that applies to names too. Yes, I am aware he has a canon name. This is just a funny joke. Get off my back in the comments, I know. After passing with flying colors due to our ability to summon two demons at once, we are dubbed Raidou Kuzunoha the 14th and sent to the capital to be an apprentice at the Narumi Detective Agency by day and a devil summoner working in the shadows to protect the people of the capital. Our arrival is then followed by the strange case of the kidnapping of Kaya Daidoji, leading to the discovery of a supernatural plot involving the military, an army of red soldiers, and Rasputin? What the hell? The game's story is formatted into episodes much like an anime season, but does give you the freedom to explore, but we'll get back to that in the gameplay section of this review. In terms of story, this game is really fun. It's able to take itself seriously at times, and even hit some ideas that I would expect to hear out of characters from a mainline SMT game for law and chaos routes, but Raidou can still be silly with some of its quest lines and even the main story quest. Let's let this poor man retire already, he's sick of the walls. I also love this game's cast of characters accompanying Raidou on his journey. From the lovable yet snarky reporter Tai to the gangster boss of the bathhouse Satake, there were very few dull moments during my playthrough. I will stand by that Victor is the absolute GOAT. I don't care that he's down in the basement locked away fusing my demons. Patrick Seitz is always a welcome voice and makes this character more than just a substitute for Igor. Even antagonistic characters like Rasputin have a lot of soul of them, even just the acknowledgement of historical accuracy with his death being around the time of the game's setting in real-world history. But that may be because I'm a bit of a nerd for somewhat accurate history. Shameless plug. The gameplay of Raidou was an interesting change for me, to say the least. I'm not really the best at action RPGs. I struggle with the management needed for a faster-paced combat system like this, compared to something like Nier Automata, where it's very much on the fly. I've never been really good at Souls-like games, so sorry, Hollow Knight fans. You'll be very disappointed if I ever cover that or Silksong. Thankfully, that's just vaporware that'll never come out. However, as I played more of Raidou, I got it. It just clicked for me. The systems worked really well for a game about managing your magic and your demons needing to focus on either conserving it for when they need to go all out with a barrage of magic to stun the enemy, or to focus on healing to keep Raidou and allies alive, to even just applying buffs and debuffs, because yes, I still need those in these games. I played through the game on the standard private eye difficulty, and I think I accidentally claimed the revival DLC items, but I only should have died about 6 times my whole playthrough, so I would say the gameplay is challenging, but fair. The gameplay in the overworld, however, does feel like a traditional Megami Tensei game, able to explore around and do case files as little side quests for different citizens in the capital, even helping dogs and telling it our dreams. I'm sure people online haven't said things that end up on a no-flight list. The combat arena style of combat in this game reminds me of hack-and-slash games of the era like No More Heroes, but with the SMT elements that you would come to expect, like recruiting demons. You level high enough, throw their ass in a tube and force them to cast DA on you and your teammates. I have been told that the gameplay of this remaster is more to fit in line with how the second Raidou games played, but as I haven't played that, I don't really have a baseline to compare it to. Unfortunately, I don't have organs to sell to buy the PS2 originals to compare it to. That money's saved for Magic the Gathering. But your demonic allies aren't just for battle, you can also use them in the overworld to go on solo investigations to access areas Raidou can't normally reach, or to open up different crystals that only demons can open. On top of this, they also have skills that allow you to progress quests and do side content, but sometimes it's funny to just use them on people in the overworld to see some of the silly interactions. If you can't find a demon needed to progress the plot forward, you can usually find a demon with that skill in the general vicinity of where it's needed, or you can always turn to the Goma Den. Serving as this game's equivalent to the Velvet Room, the Goma Den offers many services to players such as registering demons and fusing them to create more powerful demons, inheriting skills and passive abilities from the 2 demons fused. But there are other things Victor can provide. Sword Alchemy is a really great system for upgrading Raidou's arsenal. Upgrading his blade through Sword Alchemy not only gives you more powerful equipment, but also skills that Raidou can use to live up to his title. In my run, I personally went with the axe line, but there's a lot that can be experimented with if you're willing to grind a bit of money and materials. But you should have a lot from just casually playing through that you should have a fairly strong weapon by the end game. Set during the Taisho era of Japan, I love the setting of the capital. I'm not even going to try to butcher the pronunciations of the areas here. I might be a history nerd, but I love how much care and detail goes into these games, even if some parts aren't 100% accurate to fit more into the science fiction fantasy settings of Megaten games. It really does give the everyday lived-in vibes, and I am all here for that. Especially when juxtaposed with the Dark Realm versions of each area, giving off the negative emotions of the people that give the energy to all the demons causing chaos. In terms of graphics, this game kinda does wear its age. You can tell it's a remaster of a game from the early 2000s, but honestly, I think that's a really good thing. I'm just very tired of the bland, photorealistic look of modern gaming. Sometimes we just need games to wear the fact that, yeah, this is an old game, and that's fine. I feel that Atlus's PS2 era of games still hold up really well, but I think we do need more than just a fresh coat of paint to justify this game's price tag. Yes, we are back on this, but I will get to the point soon, hold your horses. If we take price out of the equation, this game looks absolutely phenomenal, and I honestly hope Atlus continues to use their unique and stylized art style in all their future games. To wrap up this review, Raidou Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army is a fine addition to the library of any Atlus fan. If I had the room, I likely would have bought the collector's edition, or even just a physical copy if it wasn't being published exclusively by Limited Run. I feel that the game's design is really well structured, a nice paced story with fast paced battles and boss fights that require a bit of thought in order to minimize the damage dealt and demons killed. It took me roughly 20 hours to finish the game, but the game has a lot of additional content that I hardly got to explore, and only filled up like half the demon chart. I'd say I'm likely going to replay this game in the near future for a New Game Plus run to try and go for 100%. But I guess it's time to discuss the elephant that I brought up a few times in the video and is still lingering in the room, the price tag. $50 for the standard edition of this game. I feel like a lot of people didn't think too much about it when it was first announced because they kinda assumed that it would be both Raidou games, which is a fair assumption because the price, I would kinda hope that it would be. I will not try to justify the price of, if you're an Atlus fan, you should pay this price, because that's not really good reasoning. I feel that $40 would have been a fair price to pick this up, so pick it up when it goes on sale for around that price, or wait to see if they announce a remaster of Raidou Kuzunoha vs. King of Baden and see if Atlus might have a bundle, and it might be cheaper than buying them individually, or at least a discount for owners of the first one. But I'm going to be fair here when giving this game a rating. I'm not going to take into account the price because I don't want another 2 months of discourse over $80 video games. Thanks, Nintendo. I love the Switch too. I'm so glad that I have one, except I don't. I feel this game deserves a rating of an 8.5 out of 10. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see me cover more Atlas games or other RPGs, please like the video, comment some games you'd like to see me potentially talk about in the future, and subscribe so you don't miss out on other videos. Until we see each other again, thank you very much for watching.